Sparky's thoughts.
So, it's about that time of the year when school is out. Some of you guys gotta go back in a few months, and some of you guys don't gotta go back for the rest of your lives. Either way, congratulations. If you guys know anything about me or my channel, you know that school videos are a big chunk of why I even blew up in the first place. But after a while, it's like you can only speak on the same experiences so many times before there's just nothing else to talk about. But I am now 3 or 4 years removed from high school. This means I had 4 years to observe the type of people that I met in high school and how that correlates to the type of people that they eventually became. There are going to be certain patterns and parallels between types of people that you met in high school or school in general and what usually happens to them after. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is all entertainment, and let's just not waste any more time. What high school stereotypes turn into as adults. The first stereotype we have on the chopping block is the popular kids. Now, there's a few layers to this one, because not every popular kid ends up in the same place. Some popular kids actually end up being some of the most successful people really that you know. Some popular people are popular because they chased popularity, and if you keep chasing something, eventually you will find it. However, as I explained on many occasions, when you go out in the real life and you actually have to prove your value and your self-worth, a lot of these people don't live up to the test, and those usually are the people that end up falling off. But sometimes these same people can actually end up realizing, holy shit, my life isn't going too great and I'm on a downward spiral. Let me get my shit together. And then they actually end up doing that, right? You ever meet your school bully like 5 years down the line and they're just like a completely different person? Sometimes they even end up apologizing for the crazy shit that they said to you. They could also end up like that. Or, you know, if they were popular just because they were charismatic or just had that natural grasp on people, chances are they're probably successful. I think it's reasonable enough to say that. Like, even if they don't have one single shred of talent in their bones or read at a 2nd grade reading level, people like you and people gravitate towards you. You're bound to find something in life. And so usually the charismatic types of popular people end up finding their lane in something, whether it's entertainment or social media, or they end up, I don't know, being a bartender or something. They'll usually find some shred of success somewhere. Yo, quick intermission. If you like me or my content, consider following me on Twitch. I go live literally every other day, and definitely follow my second channel, Sparky No Thoughts. I upload there damn near every single day. And also follow me on Instagram. If you like me, just like my face, or just want to see what I do with my life. Thank you for your time, and back to the video. The second archetype we have is the teacher's pet. You know what? Shockingly, these people actually don't tend to do bad in life, at least socioeconomically. It actually turns out that giving the two-hand twist to someone in a position of power actually gets you places in life. No shock there. So oftentimes they'll end up having somewhat of a successful career in whatever it is that they pursue. This could range from a mid-level manager at some retail store like Starbucks or something to a decent position at an office job. Their life, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on whether you like these people or not, which most people didn't, doesn't really elevate too much past that. They're capped out. Why, you ask? Because they don't really long for much other than acknowledgement from someone in a better position than they are. And that goes at the cost of really anything else, their finances, wanting more for themselves. But the key thing in this case is relationships with people. Niggas don't like people that suck up to bosses. Why? Because it's typically at the inconvenience of someone who isn't necessarily in as good of a position as the person that they're sucking up to. So if you're not in a better position than them, they could give a f about you. You're roadkill to them. And you can only make it so far when the only people whose expectations you're trying to live up to is people in better positions than you. Because people in better positions than you, especially when you reinforce that boss underling dynamic, they don't want you to be in a better position than them. So it might make your work life somewhat easier to suck up to them all the time, but even they don't really like those types of people like that, right? Whether it's beneficial to them or not to receive fellatio every single day from a teacher's pet who turned into that annoying ass coworker, you don't think they have that awareness that, yeah, this nigga's sucking up to me, right? It could really only go so far. And when you sacrifice your relationships with everyone else to maintain a boss underling relationship, there's really only so far you can go. The one person you care about doesn't want you in a better position than them, and the other people who currently aren't in a better position than you and probably can get there at some point in their life, but you don't think like that because you're only focused on how things are going right now. You know, like, you don't care about those people, and so you'll remain exactly where you're at. The school thought. This can really vary depending on really just morals and ethics. Usually how it goes is, if they're not a mother within the first 2 years of leaving school, they usually end up like in the military or something, or Air Force or Marines, one of those things. And this is typically due to the constant seeking of pleasure, chasing meaningless relationships, or validation from the other gender, to the point where they never really actually thought about things in their life, such as where I'm gonna be in the next 10 years, how other people think about the things that I'm doing in order to chase pleasure or the person that I want. And oftentimes they don't really have goals. And so they go to the military because essentially all you got to do is sign up. They tell you what you're going to be doing. And you know, in some people's cases, they make you promises. Anything from a better living situation to some sort of stability to apparently fucking Hellcats or something. I've just heard the stories. I don't know if that's true or not. Or sometimes they even get like free college. They get their school paid for, which is really good. As I said, stories on what they were actually promised and whether those promises were fulfilled or not vary. But if they're either really obsessed with validation, chaotic environments, or just have a really flexible morality, that's when you get the strippers and the sex workers. Or a little bonus, they turn to religion, like heavy into religion. Not gonna speculate too much on why that is, but if you're paying attention, you can draw your own conclusion. The quiet kids, literally no one knows what happens to them. No one keeps tabs on them. No one knows their social medias, or even if they have a social media sometimes, their life is really up in the air and up to your imagination. Personally, I'm a dude that randomly has thoughts about what happened to that one kid that was sitting in the back of US history that never said anything, to the point where I don't even know what his voice sounds like. He didn't participate in class. Nigga just never talked. It's debatable whether they're even alive. No one has any anecdotal stories of even seeing these people out in the streets. However, I will say there are instances where the quiet kid will end up being your friend or part of your friend group. But in that instance, the chances are the only thing you can confirm about them is that they end up in a relationship, because that's usually what they do right before you never hear from them again. So we're just gonna chalk it up to they experience successful, peaceful lives. Maybe. And the last archetype for this specific video, the try-hard athlete. Not to be confused with someone in your school that was like a legit great basketball player, like a team captain, or one of those dudes that ends up going on to at least play in college. I'm talking about the dudes that took sports way too seriously without any of the tangible success of taking sports seriously. It's like they just played sports to make themselves feel good and whatever bragging rights you were able to accomplish from beating other niggas that openly don't take sports seriously. They might have been on the team, but they spent more minutes talking about how underrated they were, and how whoever the star player is that the coach dick rides actually isn't that good, and how they're low-key better than everyone else on the team. But the coach doesn't acknowledge that because the coach just has something specific against them. Then they have minutes on the court. They have every single excuse about why they didn't go pro, even though the reality is that they just weren't good enough. You guys ever watch my The Sad Truth About Playing Sports video? I talk about the eventual realization that 99.99% of people that play sports have to go through. The reality that you'll probably never go pro in your sport. Statistically speaking, that is. Right? If you're a 6'10" high school prospect that just happens to be ranked and you watch my videos, nigga, I don't know, send me some money. I'm probably gonna be streaming today. Donate a sub or two. Buy your Sparky stocks early. But the reality is most people have to realize that they're not good enough to play professional sports. Or they might be really good at sports, but realize that sports just isn't worth their time. I'm not gonna go too deep into that aspect. You guys should just watch the video. I'll probably put it, I don't know, I'll put it somewhere. So usually the people that realize that sports isn't worth their time end up pivoting to something else. The archetype that I'm talking about are the people that never did this. They waited way too long to come to that conclusion. Why is it your senior year, you're not ranked anywhere in the country, let alone in your own city, and you still out here telling niggas that you finna go to the NBA? These people usually don't end up very successful. Not to hate on these people, but that same mindset that makes someone feel like they have to overrate themselves without any of the accolades, just for the sake of looking somewhat good to other people that they're breaking down their sad story to, regardless of the fact that they and their situation just isn't very good. It's the same mindset that makes them think that they're too good for a minimum wage job. They still referring to themselves as an athlete with no jersey number. What team do you play for? So here's where they usually end up. The best case scenario for them is they'll end up selling overpriced supplements on the TikTok shop. Second best case scenario for them is that they end up coaching some sort of kids sports team. Is it because they love basketball? Is it even because they want to make money? No. Coaching kids sports teams, unless it's a really successful kids sports team, makes you no money. If anything, you lose money. These people don't do it for the money or the love of basketball or any of that. Maybe a fraction of that, but what they really do it for is to live through and project onto the kids what they would have wanted for themselves when they were that age. The age where they have the potential to be whatever they want to be. Pushing kids that are probably only on a basketball team because their parents work and need to send them somewhere after school.
If you want your son high-level wrestling, send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
After the kids don't even know how to dribble, they're really trying to turn these kids into like the next Kevin Durant or something. Got them running 20 suicides, telling them that they gotta make 10 straight shots or they gotta start all over. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Or they just spend most of their days, usually on the lower end, like half of the week, some random park with double rims, farming dopamine off of playing some shitty kids that don't care about winning as much as them. Once again, to make himself feel better and compensate for his lack of success as an athlete. Do they only go to one specific park because they know exactly what spot on the rim to hit to make the shot always go in? Maybe. Are they the person taking the game seriously to the point where they're arguing with people and willing to fight them over their insignificant pride? Probably. Are these the same people at the park that will foul you and injure you over nothing? And if you're anything above 5'10", they tell you to get down in the paint and secure their rebounds? Yes. You're not gonna make it in sports, hang it up, and fill out a job application. And that's pretty much all I got for today. If you like the video, actually like the video, so I don't just have to hear that you like it, but I can see that you like it. And maybe I'll drop a part 2, who knows? I don't know. Let me know if you relate to any of these, know someone that turned into any of these, or will probably turn into any of these. Also, I got a new camera, because my most liked comment on my last video was a nigga telling me that my camera wasn't shooting in 30 frames per second. Why did I bring this up? I don't know. Someone please acknowledge the fact that my quality has gotten better. Please, 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 please.